Hello, I'm Anna, the Yarn Randomizer, and this is episode 54 of the Yarn Randomizer. Now, if you've just found me, welcome. I hope you find something interesting here and informative or kind of get you inspired about knitting. And this is a knitting podcast for almost completely. There might be an occasional crochet or cross stitch, but it's pretty much knitting all the time. And I'm going to peek at my notes that I have over there. And okay, and also welcome back to folks who've been watching regularly. I really appreciate you coming back consistently and watching and everything. And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as the Yarn Randomizer. And also my Gmail address is the Yarn Randomizer. I'm trying to see if I can see some glare there because I have a new configuration here. And so I have a second computer screen. I have this main one here, but I've got that one over there, but I feel like it is causing some glare. So give me just a moment. Let's see if I can do something about this. At least turn it away. Let's see if that helps. That, maybe a little. Still feel like a little bit of glare on the glasses there. Okay, now, why randomizer? Oh yeah, and any information you can find about where I'm at and where you can find me and everything is all below. What's up, Odo? Come on, hold on for a minute. All right, and so why randomizer? It's because I pick my yarns, or I have actually my husband pull chips randomly from here to pick yarns to use out of my yarn stash. And for the vast majority of my projects, that's how I pick them. So let's see, please like and subscribe and share if you find something interesting to share. And okay, sorry, I'm just thinking about something I didn't write in my notes, and I'll just have to kind of ad lib it when I get there, but we'll get to that. So the up front, so you don't have to wait and everything. Last time I was giving away a little bit of Neighborhood Fiber Co. Their sport weight yarn in Berkeley Flats, and the random pick was, it's right here, some Leah Holland. And yes, Odo, what do you need? I'm going to pause for a second. Sorry about that. Odo was feeling a little needy, and so I let him leave the room. I was trying to keep it closed to keep the air conditioning cooler in here because it is a beastly hot day outside. But okay, the giveaway. All right, so Leah Holland, or at LEAHAOLLAND 6272 is the YouTube alias. And so if that's you, email me and let's figure out how to get this yarn to you. I today also, because I've been a lazy bum over the past couple weeks, partly because of the weather and partly my husband actually left on a vacation earlier this week. So things have been a little different around the house, being here by myself for a little while. And so I finally got out and mailed off the previous 2 winners. So I will send tracking numbers to you today so you can actually watch that as it's on its way. The other thing I wanted to mention that was really exciting is I have to admit, I don't go check my post office box for the podcast very often, but I did go by and check, and there was some happy mail there for the first time. So Emma from New Zealand, who I had sent some yarn to, had sent me a couple of really nice items. One was this tea towel from New Zealand. So it is really cool. You can see the kiwi on there, and it's just absolutely cool. New Zealand's definitely on the list of places my husband and I want to go hiking someday, and so we can't wait to go there. I think next year we have Germany and Austria on our list, but after that we're going to have to figure out where we're going next. Maybe New Zealand, but we'll see. Oh dear. And so Odo. All right. And then the other thing was this really cool bag. And so it's a zip pouch. And I love this stuff, all created local and with the New Zealand themes on there and everything. Absolutely amazing. I just love it. Thank you so much, Emma. That is so neat. I love both of these. All right. And so it was really cool. So the first time I actually had, now I will say, somebody previously tried to send me mail to my post office box. And what happened was it got turned back. And the reason why was because it had my name on it, but it didn't have the Yarn Randomizer as somebody who could receive mail there. So I had corrected that finally when I tested it and made sure it works the way it's supposed to. So it should work correctly now. It's a very tiny post office here in Etna, Ohio. And so I just talked to the lady that was there, and she's got it all labeled now. So those items won't be sent away when they show up. All right. And so there is another giveaway that I think you'll like that's coming up in the stash management section. So stay tuned for that later. All right. Now, what? Oh, so you see, I am wearing something. But it is not a completed project, obviously. So I decided to put on this, what I've done so far with my willow pullover. So I finished the front and I finished the back, and it's a 3-needle bind off for the shoulders here to bring it together. And I have to say, I'm super happy with how this is looking. And so was it the ribbing is really nice at the bottom. And so, yeah, so I think this is looking great. So I have to pick up for the collar and the sleeves next. So I will do the collar first because I want to do the collar so that when I am measuring the length of the sleeves, that I get a consistent length for how it's going to actually sit on my body. You can see this looks very open right now, and I know that when I pick up this collar, it will pull this in a bit. So we'll see how much. And then I'll be able to reliably do the length of the sleeves then. All right, so this is my willow pullover. The details on that here further, yes, in my list. This is by Andrea Gahn, and this is Capra DK in Loganberry Heather, and it is incredibly soft. I was a little worried about the stitch definition, but I think it's looking great. I think it may have some pilling issues, would be my guess, but I've got a sweater shaver just to deal with those kind of things on sweaters, so that won't be a problem. All right, and then this, I'm trying to think, oh yeah, size 8 needles. I'm using 6 for the ribbing. And yeah, so the neck is coming next. It's got I think you can see it's got a Italian cast on there when I did the cast on, which I always do a provisional type of Italian cast on because I find it doing without the extra yarn real fiddly, and so I think that makes it a lot easier. I can tell I'm getting warm already in here. All right, so that's what I'm wearing, and it is not a finished object, but I'm really psyched about how it's turning out, and I think I will be taking it off. It's 91 degrees outside with very high humidity, and I've got the door cracked open. The rest of the house has no air conditioning. I only have air conditioning in the, excuse me, I'm going to try to slip this off, in the bedroom and here in my office, and I only run it when I absolutely need it, and I try to run it as little as possible, but it's been, if you step outside of this room, it is insane. There we go. I hope I didn't bump that too much there. We'll put that over there. Whew. Okay, there we go. There. All right, otherwise I'm not wearing any knitwear because it's too warm. Okay, now finished objects. Yes, there are some finished objects. And all right, the first one is still a little damp. I soaked it yesterday and put it out on my blocking mat. I just set it out and pressed it flat, kind of spread it out, no pinning or anything like that. But that's my terrazzo neck. So it's the neck in particular is very wet still. Let's see if you can see all of this. So there's the front. And this is this 9-inch long neck, which, okay, so this is a fully twisted rib neck. So you're doing knit through the back loop, purl through the back loop. Knit through the back loop is not bad. Purl through the back loop is a pain in the butt. And so it's this whole thing is 9 inches of knit, fully twisted rib, and that was a slog. It actually, come on, Odo, if you want to come in. Oh, my dog's being a little high maintenance today. Is there something you need? Do you need to go outside? No? If I ask him if he needs to go outside, he'll turn around and go to the door. So that's not it. I think he's getting impatient for his supper, and I'm not using the letter D, D-I-N-N-E-R, because if I say that, he will think he's going to get fed. Yes? What? What do you need? Okay, I'm going to pause this. Okay, where were we? All right, the terrazzo neck. And so, yes, 9 inches of neck is a lot. You see the front, let's see if I can show this correctly. The front is a little tapered and a little shorter than the back. And let me see what else I had in my notes. Yeah, I did the Italian bind off on the neck and on the front, and I'm really happy with the result. I feel like these two yarns played together really well. One is from the Fiber Seed. It's their worsted in, it was a Hanukkah box color that they had on sale that I picked up. I think it was Hanukkah Day 2, maybe. And then the other color is a Shoreway Silk from the Superfine Yarn Company in Moondust. And so those two colorways just worked really well together. And so I'm really happy with how it turned out. But I do want to show you, to be completely upfront, about one thing. So I did an Italian cast on using a provisional cast on. Now I did that, actually here, I'll show it to you here. So I did an Italian cast on with my willow sweater here, and you can see it looks exactly like it should here. And so did that with a provisional cast on. Now I did the same thing with this piece, but I want to show you what the cast on ended up looking like. Now can you see it's got that kind of spiral kind of look? Now, I think I understand why it happened. So different from, there's, for a cast off, there's 2 setup rows, and then you do the Kitchener to close it up. And the same thing for when you cast on, you do the cast on, you do 2 setup rows, and then you continue on as normal. Now, since this ribbing is twisted, one of the things that she has you do in the setup rows is to do the knit and purl stitches as twisted. Now, I think so I hope this makes sense to you. When you are doing twisted stitches, when you make that stitch, you are not twisting the stitch you're making, you are twisting the stitch that you're working, okay? Because, for example, you're doing it through the back of the loop, and that causes it to twist, but your stitch you just made is sitting on the needle the same as usual. So I think what caused this was with the cast on, because you twist those stitches immediately, you're actually twisting the yarn that was used to cast on, and that's caused this unusual effect on this edge. Now I'm fine with it looking this way. I think my recommendation would be for that the first 2 setup rows where you do the front and the back, that you, instead of twisting the knits and purls, you should, I think you just do knits since you're doing it 2-sided, yes. Instead of twisting the stitches on the first 2 rows, you should simply do them as usual, and it will look exactly like it should. Now, I don't know if this is a result of me doing a provisional cast on for this Italian cast on, but my proof that that shouldn't be an issue is the way this cast on looks here. It looks exactly the way it should. So I'm going to write that in my notes about that, but I think it's something to consider when you do the cast on. And I think it would still affect it even if you didn't use a provisional, but I should look in the notes other people have made to see if they see the same effect. But yeah, it was an interesting result. So I'm absolutely thrilled with this. This is the worst time of year to have this available. For one thing, it's still damp, so I can't model it, but I will, as soon as it dry, try to get some modeling pictures of this somewhere and post that up. But yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with it. So I think this has turned out great. This Terrazzo Neck by Petite Knit. And yeah, and this is in the extra small size. But I think this will look great under my coat this coming winter. So yeah, totally psyched about it. Nice, quick project. I would say my only hesitation is doing 9 inches of fully twisted rib at the end. Felt a little endless, and so yeah. But yeah, that was my only downside to the project and stuff. So all right, so that's that one finished. Now my other finish is I finished my Jimmy's Little Helper hat, and is this the cutest thing? I love how this turned out. This is Madeline Tosh Vintage in the colorway Blood Runs Cold, and I absolutely love this red. This is like the best red. I just absolutely love it. Now, what happened was I ended up using the entire skein to do this, and I actually ran short on yarn at the end. And so I was doing the decreases as described, and then when I got here, I realized there was no way I was going to have enough yarn to finish it at the rate at which they wanted me to reduce it, which would, I think, continued out a little further here. And so I started decreasing at a more rapid rate and brought it together. But I think the rounded top looks kind of cool. I kind of like it. And so my husband's tried it on. It fits him too. And it has at the beginning a half twisted rib here at the beginning part. And I think the beginning part was done with a smaller needle size. Let me check my projects really quick. Yes, I started with a size 7 and then went to a size 8. And so, yeah, I really like the hat. Now, the big question is what pom-pom to use. So should it be this one? So this is a firmer, kind of more traditional, like these old pom-poms that they have available. Or should it be, if this is such a piece of fluff. Look at that. This is an alpaca pom-pom, and it is like crazy soft and fluffy. So that's the other possibility. So I've got to decide, or you will help me. I want your opinions on this. So it's either this little crazy fluffy alpaca pom-pom or this firmer, more traditional looking pom-pom. I can't do a good job holding this on here. There we go. There. It's a little firm. It doesn't have a whole lot of shake to it there. But yeah. And so yeah, it was a really great pattern. Ravelry lists the pattern as not available, but I was able to find it on a simple internet search. I didn't even have to use the internet Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive. And so in my project, I have a link to where you can find this pattern, and it's a free pattern. And I think it worked out really nice. And so it was a nice, quick, mindless knit and turned out great. Oh, I love this color. I want a sweater in this color. I'll have to wait till next year to buy that, to buy some yarn to do that. But yeah. Yeah, Madeline Tosh Vintage is a really nice yarn to work with as well. I love how it works up. And so I think that was all my notes. Let's see. Yep. Yeah. So basically the main question is which pom-pom to put on this. So that turned out great. Another finished project. I actually looked at my list of finished projects for the year, and I think I have 15 finished projects for the year so far. Yes, 15 projects. I always set a goal of having 24 projects completed each year, so I think I'm on track pretty well. All right, so that is that. So those are the finished objects that I'm done with. Totally happy with both of those. Now, next is the elephant in the room. That's not visible to you, but I'm going to pull it out now. This is my year-long blanket, which is the Bubbly Blossoms blanket by Stephen West. And this guy is getting big. Now, you can imagine this hot weather. I'm knitting this thing at night in the evenings typically. And this is a lot to have on your lap. Let's see. There we go. Oh my goodness, yes, this thing is getting big. So you can see this original slip stitch section here. And so you can see we're replicating that again here in this band. And so I'm about, I think, oh yeah, just a little over halfway through this slip stitch section. So you can see that. And so yeah, so I'm keeping up on it. This is made out of Lancaba Mayaneo, which I have no idea if that's how to pronounce it, but I get it from Finished Knits because it is a DK. This blanket takes 16 skeins of DK. And so the nice thing about the Lancaba DK is it's 75% wool, 25% nylon, but it's a very good price point for the yarn. And so it makes this project, it's still an expensive project, but a little more affordable. And so, yeah, I think it's looking great. Now, somebody asked me, and I had not said anything about this for a while. I have this on, this is on Chaogu on a set of wooden needles. Let's see, let me bring those up. You can see those there, that they're the wooden Chaogus. I have a wooden interchangeable set from them. I don't use it that often. I just use it when I need, like when I run out of other needles and I have to go grab this. And so keeping a pair of size 7s occupied all year long, I decided to do it on the wooden needles. But I have on here, the way I've got this situated right now, it's on two 50-inch cords, Chaogu cords, and it's, oh, and these are, is it that type? Yes. So these are the, I can't remember what they're called. These are special Chaogu cords. Instead of the red color, these have the same wire in the middle, coated wire there, but these are ones that, so you can see how I can spin the needle around and it doesn't twist the cable. So those can rotate freely. And that's one of the advantages of these cords and everything, is that they can do that. So I've got two 50-inch cords of this type. They're Chaogu cords that have this ability to rotate. And what I have in the middle here somewhere, see if I can find it. Where would it be? It's got to be, I have basically an adapter that connects two cords to each other. And I will say that is one of my things where I feel like they could do a better job. I'm not going to be able to find it here. They could do a better job. Oh, there we go. There it is. They could do a better job with this adapter because I feel like sliding the stitches over it sometimes is a little bit of a pain in the butt. But there's an adapter that connects two ends there to the needle. And so that's how I'm knitting this right now. And I think I may be able to finish the blanket on these two 50-inch cables. I will if I can, because having even another connector in there makes it even more problematic sliding the stitches around. So that makes that kind of a pain in the butt. Right now I can cope with the one, but needing to deal with two would definitely make it much more problematic. Because what I do is when I'm working on it, I slide the stitches as far around as I can and pack them up against one side, work through as many as I can until I need to do that again. So I have to work to get past that one cable connector. It'd be a real pain in the butt to work past another one. But yeah, love this blanket. I can't wait to see how this turns out, and love the colors on this. Yep. And so yeah, looking forward to it. Now this center is identical to the center, this garter stitch part, as my blanket from last year, which was the Slip Stravaganza blanket. Now you can see how it looks a little like with crease, like I don't know how to describe it, like kind of folds or ripples in there. when you block it, that just completely disappears, so it's not a problem. But yeah, just so you know. Right, but yeah, there it is. Oh my goodness. Love this blanket. But I know next year I will not be doing an annual blanket. This takes care of the 2 beds in the house, and I really feel I want to have more of my knitting time back to do regular projects. So this will let me do a significant amount more knitting, because this will be at least 4,000 yards of knitting, and I could have that knitting time for making more sweaters and that kind of thing. So I think next year I'll be focusing on more randomizer picks, and I won't have an annual blanket. But blanket knitting will happen if I have a blanket that has skeins in the stash. If those skeins get picked, I'll work on the blanket with that skein that gets picked. And I also have there it is, my 10 stitch blanket as well. And anytime I get something that looks like it could go in there, it's a fingering weight 10 stitch blanket. I will do that as well. So blankets will still be happening, but not in the concerted annual way these last 2 blankets are going. So that, I think, will give me more knitting time for garments and things like that. So we'll see. All right, now, so that was the year-long project. Okay, so the next item on the list is the willow pullover, which we've already talked about. And so I just have to do the collar and the sleeves. And so I'll have that done then. I'll have at least the collar done for next time. And then the other thing I did a little work on, oh yes, it's right there. And I know I don't mention this every time, but this is my pegboard from IKEA, and I love it. And I hang projects and a variety of other things from here. I actually did some work on, even with this weather, I did some work on my Color Play mohair scarf. It's by Church Mouse Yarn and Tees, and it's as simple as can be. It's a little rumpled as it's sitting in the bag. And so I didn't do a whole lot more, but I started knitting it because I'm short on a project, a brainless project that I can take anywhere and work on, like when I'm standing in line somewhere or waiting for something and that kind of thing. So I took this kind of a little dreading it, thinking it would be kind of a pain in the butt as a mobile project with the 2 strands of mohair, but I was really surprised. It was actually very nice to knit on the go. And so I will probably carry this with me as a mobile project going forward. I've got a black mohair that I'm using throughout, and I'm using it with scraps that I have. And in the project, I'll put the photo up. I have the order in which I'm going to use the scraps in there. My idea was I'd have an end of each colored. I'd have a long pink kind of segment on each end, and then I'd have a variety of colors in the middle, so that when I wrap it around, I'll have multiple colors showing on the center and everything. But knitting 2 strands of mohair is nicer to do than I thought. I thought it would be kind of a pain in the butt because of the non-stretchiness of the mohair yarn. But I think because it's on size 8 needles, that's less of an issue. And the thing I love is this thing feels like a cloud. It's just wild. I can't wait to have this. This will be so nice as a scarf in the winter. And I know some people might not like wearing mohair around the neck, but I don't have a problem with wearing mohair. And so yeah, so it's working out really nice, and I'm looking forward to continuing on this. So we'll see. I'd love to get the pink done and get to another section. Actually, I'll hold up the correct side of this. It's got seed stitch on the edges and on the bottom. And so yeah, so making progress there. Any other notes? No, that's it. So yeah, Church Mouse Yarn and Tees. They make really nice patterns. I did a thinking cap before from them, which is a lace weight hat. And I mean, lace weight. It's like, whew, it is really fine knitting. And that was, whew, man, that was a slog, but it's a great hat. You know, it's just a really nice hat. It's a lot of knitting on very small needles on very, very fine yarn and everything. But the project turned out great. I won't be doing it again though. All right, let's see. And so I'm going to skip my vest because I haven't worked on the vest at all, because the vest is waiting to see what leftovers are available from this next project. So the next project is I've continued to work on the Mystery Wool Along 2025 hat from Bare Naked Yarns. And oh, look at that lace, this next section. That looks so great. So I'm a little more than halfway through. So I got about 4 more eyelets to do on this section, and I'll be done, and I'll be going up a needle size. This is size 6, I believe. Let me double check that. Yes, size 6 needles that I'm using right now with this sport. It's all sport weight yarn. Sport weight? No, I'm sorry. It's fingering weight yarn. So I'm using size 6 needles. And this is the Borderdale from Bare Naked Wools. And I think it was only a run of yarn they had just for this retreat they just had for this project. They're having another retreat. Oh. I will put a link to the details down below, but they've got a fall retreat happening. And I'm not sure if this is going to be available or another shawl project, but I can't recommend it enough. I won't be going because it is right back to back with a retreat I'm doing down at Ghost Ranch in November. And I just attended this one here in the summer, but I would say if you have an opportunity to go, I highly recommend it. I'll put the link below for the information, but they're going to do the sweater fitting class. You'll do a class where you'll go over your measurements and that kind of stuff. And Anne Hansen works with every individual on the customization of a sweater that you want to make, and how you might need to adjust it to fit you. Really worthwhile, really worthwhile. So you'll get a shawl project as part of that, and that class, and a variety of other activities. It was really worthwhile and just great hanging out with a bunch of great knitters. And that the pop-up shop from Anne Hansen of Her Yarns is deadly to the wallet. So I can attest to that. If you look back an episode or two, you can see what I got from that. But yeah, I will put a link below about that. Let's see. So this is the 4th section, and so just a handful more 4 more, so be like 8 more rows. I'll have this done, and I'll be transitioning to a feather and fan pattern that happens next, a lace pattern. And so that happens on a size up on the needles. And so, yeah, and so this is about 60% done. I do have a spreadsheet for this. You can see my insanity with my spreadsheets if you look at the project page, and I'll put a link below as well, that details out all the stitches in the project, how to tell how far you're complete, how to tell what percentage of the yarn is used up of a given color at a certain time. And it's got way more information than most people will ever need, but I like having it because it lets me know I'll have enough of a given yarn for a section. So it might not be a problem with this version of the pattern, but if I do it again with my own yarns, it'll help me determine how much I need. All right, so I think that is it for that one. So I am loving how this is turning out. It's just, Anne Hansen, can't recommend her patterns enough, and she just does amazing shawls and lace and great sweaters. It's like, and there's variation. Some of them are top down, a lot of them are bottom up or in pieces. There's a mixture there. So if you have a preference, you'll want to look through and watch for that. But I really highly recommend her patterns. All right, I'm going to set that down there. And now, let's see. So that's all the works in progress. As far as weaving in 10 a day, I still need to get to my blanket and start weaving in consistently. Otherwise, I'm going to go nuts at the end of the year when I finish it. And I do not want to have all those ends waiting for me. But I did get, like when I did my, let me grab that terrazzo neck, that's all completely woven in and ready to go. So that never went into the finishing basket. I just finished it. So I was a good knitter. I did my ends on this one as I should. And I got to get more consistent. I'm still not great about consistency about that, but getting there, getting there. All right, so now I think next is the next yarn randomizer pick. So if you saw the short, you would have seen this yarn here. And this is 100 Ravens, and the yarn is this, Ayachos. I'm not sure that that's the pronunciation, but it's 400 yards. It's 100% merino wool, and it's a superwash merino. And this color is Granny Smith. Some great color. And I picked this up at Stephen B. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, and highly recommend visiting that shop. I think that used to be a firehouse and stuff, and it's like this 2-story yarn shop that just has a whole ton of stuff to explore. So if you get a chance to stop by there, I highly recommend it. I believe I got it in 2021. Yep, that was it. And so this was yarn. Where's my little thing? Oh yes, there it is. It was yarn. It was no in my spreadsheet. It was yarn 30 in my spreadsheet because you can tell it's because it's alphabetical. 100 Ravens, so it ends up early in the list when I sort that list alphabetically. But so the question is, what to do with this? And this, I think I've made socks before out of 100% merino, but I'm reluctant to do that because I worry about the wearing out and everything. And I feel like this yarn, I'm having so much fun knitting a lace and doing a shawl that I think this would make a great shawl. And I searched around on patterns, and we got to talk more about searching around for things to do and consistently recording that, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But I found a pattern that I really like, and I'll tell you why when I show it to you. So the pattern is Break of Dawn, and I have it up here. That's not it. There it is right there. And it's by Janina Callio, and it is, yeah, so it is available. And so the thing that I like about it, so if you haven't watched any of them, I actually have a series of, I think, 4 videos where I go through every shawl that I have. And at the time, I think I had about 40 shawls. Now I've got more now. I think I could I have enough shawls? No, and I do wear them. I really enjoy shawls, and I do wear them. But I have went through all my shawls in this series of shawl retrospectives, and I'll link that below, that playlist below. And I talk about not just these shawls, but like what went well, what I did and didn't like about some of the shawls. And I definitely had a problem with a few shawls that are mainly stockinette lace. And so basically they're lace at the edges and that kind of stuff, or even in the body and everything. And it's a 100% stockinette with lace in it. So it's not garter. It's stockinette, flat stockinette stitch, which of course looks great with lace. But the problem is that those edges often curl unless you really do something very pronounced to deal with it to keep them from curling. And I find that a huge disappointment. And I am, at this point, I've had it happen with at least 3 shawls, if not more. And I am extremely averse to, I look at these patterns and I think they look great, but I go like, is that going to curl? I do not want it to be curling at the edges. And so I spotted a pattern. I have one in my favorites that I thought might be a possibility, and that would actually not just favorites, it's in my library. Let me just bring that one up real quick so you get an idea what I'm talking about here. There it is, the Atlantis scarf. Let me put in a picture of that. So this Atlantis scarf and this Break of Dawn scarf, what they have in common is they are 100% garter stitch all the way through, even the lace sections. So even the lace is 100% garter stitch. Now this definitely gives it a different appearance, but I really like that. I have a shawl I've made previously that had garter lace at the edge, and I really like it. And so I think the Break of Dawn would be an interesting one to do with this yarn and see how it turns out. And it'd be a nice solid color scarf that really shows off the lace really well. And so that's my plan, is to make another shawl with this that'll feed the make some lace kind of thing, and it'll be a great use of solid color 100% merino yarn. Now, so the reason you may be wondering, like, well, what about the Ann Hansen shawl, and does that have an issue? And the reason why it won't have an issue, you do have this like stockinette section here with these leaves on it and everything. There's some pearls in this section, but it's mostly stockinette, and this is mostly stockinette too, although there are spines of garter stitch in here. But the feather and fan edging, because it has, again, it's kind of garterish, and so it does not have the curling problem that the stockinette all the way out to the edge does. So she, I think, deals with that really well. I've never had that issue with any of her shawls. Get out that other one and show it. But I've got a third shawl that I did by Ann Hansen, and again, it's a great one. It's a scarf, really. And again, no curling issues because of the way she does the work. So that's my plan. I'm going to make the break of dawn with this. It'll feed my need to do lace. I love shawls, and it'll use up this whole skein, I believe. And yeah, that's it for random pick number, lost my notes. Hold on for a second. Number 17. All right. Now, the other interesting thing that happened this past week, my husband's been on vacation. He did a motorcycle, he's on a motorcycle ride. He's on his way back now. He did a motorcycle ride all the way up to Maine and all the way to the most eastern point in the continental, I guess, in the United States, period. And he went out there, and so I have a picture of him at a lighthouse there. And so what he said to me was, I would love to have a hat that has the red and white stripes like the lighthouse. And so I looked around. Oh, now I'm gonna see if I can find this. Oh yeah, let me find it. Oh, I found a pattern. Let's see if I can find this here. Gmail. Circles. Not gonna be able to find it here. Oh boy. Let's see, patterns. Oh my goodness, I have lost track of it. I believe, oh, let's see. Just trying to remember the name of the patterns. Okay, hold on. Oh, I feel like I'm stalling you guys. Just a moment. Like technical problems. Let's see. Jared Flood. Okay, Jared Flood. Let's see if we can find that. And oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't find this thing. What the heck? All right, I'm going to have to just find this. There is a hat called, I believe, Squaring the Circle. I will put it in the caption down here. I think it's by Jared Flood, or it's by, oh, well, never mind. I'm not going to delay this any longer. But I think it's called Squaring the Circle. And it's a really cool striped hat in worsted weight. And I think it will be perfect for doing this, mimicking the pattern which is just red and white stripes on the lighthouse. Now, the question is, do I have yarns I could use for that? And I think I might. I'm going to have to see if he's okay. This is not obviously white, but I think these will be good enough to do the trick. And so one of them is a stitched together worsted. It's a one of a kind that they had, but it's this nice red color. And the other one is a Bare Naked Wools Polypay worsted in Icicle. So I think I can make a nice striped worsted hat for my husband. But it's great to get a request in I love it when he does that because I can find something that does it. Now the only question will be is, are these colors okay? If not, I may end up finding some colors like, that blood runs cold. I could get some more of that and use some white in the Madeline Toss Vintage, but we'll see. It would be great to just use some yarn from Stash, and so that was awesome to get a request from him. That does not happen often. So unless you want to talk about the motorcycle sweater, which I haven't been. Maybe this fall. We'll see. Christmas. I'll get it done for Christmas. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. I do not like the fiddly and targe on that sweater. Okay, enough about that. All right. Okay, acquisitions. All right. So I have been trying to be good about acquisitions, but you see something and you just go, I've got to have that. I don't know how often that happens to you. I joke, in my little spread shop thing, I have a t-shirt that says, or a pattern kind of logo on there that says, was it stash first, ask questions later? Because I'm definitely a yarn first kind of person. And so when I saw the image of this yarn, I was kind of like, I've got to have it. And I had to wait because it wasn't available yet. I had to wait a little while, but I did not forget. And finally, when it became available, I ordered a skein of it and got it. And this is it. So this is Hypnotic Yarn. Now they have a subscription service called Yarnable. And I have done it before. I'm only not doing it now because I've got too much yarn in that closet over there. But even so, I could not resist this. So you can see the speckles on this. I'm a big fan of either tonals or speckled yarn for the most part now. And so this was a speckled yarn I couldn't resist. I really kind of regret, I almost wish I'd bought enough to make a t-shirt out of this. But this will make a great pair of socks or something. And so this is their June 2025 color, and the colorway is called Cue the Confetti. And so I just love this combination of colors in here. Just great. And so couldn't resist. So more yarn into the stash, just what I needed. And so yeah, so that, and I'll link down below where you can find that because she's got different weights of it available and everything, and so you can see what's there. Actually, it came as the same thing you would receive in the Yarnable subscription, so it came with some extras. I didn't keep them around. I think one of them was a happy birthday. It had a birthday theme to it, so it was perfect for June for me because I got a little stitch marker that says happy birthday. so that's my excuse. But yeah, so Cue the Confetti, I got that. And yeah, and so I'm going to make up for it now. So I decided I'll do my stash management report once per month. So it's not going to happen this episode. I'll do it next episode, but I still have a yarn to give away. And so, see if I can grab a hold of this. This is a big honkin' hank of yarn. And so, let's see. So this is... So if you can see this, this is from Yarn Snob. I think I got this at the same time I got this here. I was using some birthday money my mom had sent me, and I picked this skein up at Stephen B's also. And so Yarn Snob Powerball, this is 500 grams of worsted weight yarn. And so it is a total of 1,090 yards of worsted weight yarn. And this colorway is called Dark Matter. So I've decided that I want to, I've thought a lot about this yarn, and again, I was kind of like, mixed, and I thought, I know somebody will love this ball of yarn. And so if you're interested, please mention Dark Matter, some astronomical term, in the comments. And remember, don't mention anything about a giveaway, because that's when the scammers show up. But yeah, so if you're interested in receiving this honkin' hank of yarn here, just comment about Dark Matter in your comment, and you will be eligible for this as a giveaway in the next episode. And so this will help me reduce my yarn deficit for sure. All right, now, so I think that's it. Oh, and so my video favorite. And so it turned out I forgot to write this all down ahead of time, but I have a couple of videos from Veritasium that I really like, and I'll link them both. But the one I really want to talk about is the one that he just came out with, and let me bring that up. Veritasium, and so he did a really neat one today. Yeah, about something called Markov chains. Now, if you're a mathematician or a statistician at all, that will be a familiar term for you. And so I think the name of the episode, yes, the most important concept in math you've probably never heard of. And so he basically goes into the history of Markov chains and the kind of things they're being used for and everything. And it was really just a fascinating video. It was a great background on it. If you ever heard of Monte Carlo simulations, Markov chains, that kind of stuff, it gives you background on all this. And this might be a little on the geeky side for folks, but I loved it. And so I'm going to share it. I think I'll also share another one that he has that'll be a little more less narrow in its topic, and called The Expert Myth, which I thought was a really great video and gives a lot of food for thought on what it means to be an expert and everything. So I'm going to share both those videos. I can't recommend the Veritasium channel enough. I really, every time his videos come out, they're always such a fun and informative watch, and just always great. And I feel like he makes science and technology really accessible to folks as well. So that's going to be my recommended video for this week, for this episode. And so let's see, what else do I have going on here? Okay, what I'm watching. Okay, so I'm continuing to watch Foundation on Apple TV, and it's in the third season, and I've watched the first 3 episodes, and it has just hitting it out of the park so far. It's just a great, if you love science fiction, it's a fantastic show. I really enjoy it, and so it is well worth. Apple TV has some very high quality programs like Severance. If you haven't watched Severance, I recommend that. Shrinking is another one. Severance is science fiction. Shrinking is more, kind of drama comedy kind of thing, and it's great. There are just a lot of really great programs on Apple TV. And so, oh yeah, Ted Lasso. If you haven't watched Ted Lasso, I think everybody should watch Ted Lasso. Oh, we get our noisy vehicle for the day here. Here we go. All right. So yeah, and the other thing I mentioned to mention was that the other thing I'm watching is I've been working my way through Mythbusters from the very beginning, and I'm all the way up to the 15th season now. And this has been a while, a few months, probably more like 6 months I've been doing this. And I've really been enjoying that too. I love when they have to work out the details in the experimentation on the subjects that they're covering, on the things that they're trying to do and stuff. And so, yeah, definitely, I'm a geeky scientist at heart. But it's been a lot of fun too. And as far as what I'm reading, or actually what I'm listening to, I finished The Two Towers as part of the Lord of the Rings series, and I'm partway into The Return of the King. And it's been great in Return of the King to watch, to kind of listen to Merry and Pippin's individual, kind of what's happening to them independently, leading up to the battle for Minas Tirith. And it's hitting a very exciting point of the story. And I was actually really surprised. I had read these books when I was a teenager, and I had completely forgotten that The Two Towers ended with after Frodo gets made to look like he's dead by what Shelob, this big spider thing, does to him, and Samwise Gamgee is thinking he's dead. It ends with the orcs have taken Frodo into this place and have closed the door, and Sam realizes he's actually still alive and is shut out, and that's how it ends on The Two Towers. And you're like, whoa, that's quite the cliffhanger. But even worse, when you start The Return of the King, they don't go back to that like immediately. So we're doing all this other stuff before we get back to that part of the story. Really, it's interesting to see how that's structured as far as how he's putting the story together. But yeah, and then I thought I'd also include what I'm playing. So if you don't already know this or can't guess, I am an avid video game player. Do I have Mario up there? Oh, you can't quite see him. Let me bring him down. I have Mario, my little cross stitch Mario up there. So I am a perpetual, forever World of Warcraft player. And I play with my brother and stuff on the regular, like we play multiple times per week. And then I also play video games with my sons. I have three young adult, I guess young adult, maybe it's not young adult anymore. Tells you something about how old I am. But my sons are 26, 28, and 30 this year. I can't believe I have a son who is 30 years old. But oh, another noisy vehicle for the episode there. And but we get together and play video games on Mondays. And so we just finished up playing Baldur's Gate 3. And we're in the process of trying to figure out what game we're going to play next. But I love doing that because we get together and play online together, and we use Discord to chat while we're playing. And so I always get to catch up with them on what they're doing and everything like that. And so it's a great way to stay connected with them. And I definitely got them hooked into video games from when they were very young. A bad mom in that way. But they're doing great. Yeah. They did not obsess with video games to the detriment of schoolwork. Let me just put it that way, because we had a very, although I don't know if you can imagine this, but we had a very, very specific routine, and homework was always a priority in the evenings when they were growing up. So, all right, let's see. Okay, so that's what I'm playing. And actually, I was going to show it off. I just got a Switch too. It took me a little while to get hold of one, but I had a Switch, which is still here, and I got to figure out what to do with it. But I have a Switch too. So I play Picross every evening as my kind of bedtime routine. Let's see, yeah, and I'm looking at some of the games. I loved Mario Wonder on the Switch, and so yeah. I've been playing video games since Pong in the 70s. So. All right, so enough rambling and stuff. I did want to talk about recording. I've got mixed feelings about recordings of what I plan to do with the most recent 3 yarns, because for one thing, I didn't get to it until after I'd actually picked. And I want to do it cold. And I want to do that with the next pick, which I know what it is. You don't know that yet, but I want to do that and try to get that recorded. I've had a change in equipment. I have a second monitor here that's going to help me do some things I want to do. And so I am earnestly going to work on getting the next random yarn choice, a video about how I go about picking a project for that done and up to come. What'll happen is I'll do the short, we'll do the episode, and then I'll put up the video for how I picked that choice shortly after. And so that I'm going to try to make that the pattern going forward. And so let's see, I uploaded a video yesterday for how I'm picking up stitches for reverse loop cast on. And is that the right term? I'm probably thinking of that wrong. But yeah, so I've changed how I pick up stitches for like sleeves at the underarm area for sleeves and things like that. And I think it works better than what I used to do. And so I'm really happy with it. So I made a video of it, and I hope people find that useful. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, I've got some other ideas for videos, but one that I did want to mention is after reading the Reddit knitting forums and stuff for a while, I've decided what I want to do is make a video about beginner problems. And so as an example, let me run through this. Oh yeah. Why doesn't this look like, here's a quick list of some of the ideas I have. So why doesn't this look like knitted fabric? They start with doing all knits and they don't understand why it looks like garter stitch instead of smooth knitting. And so that twisted stitches and what knitted fabric is supposed to look like. What's this long strand between my knitting? you know, people who do that reverse loop cast on and what can happen and stuff. Why am I getting more stitches each row? You know how some people will pull the yarn over the wrong way and end up working basically an increase at the end of the beginning of the row. How to read the next stitch. How not to run out of yarn on a row. I have a way I like to avoid that. Weighing your yarn and how you use that. Why didn't anybody explain how to make a gauge swatch? Because you see people who make the gauge swatch exactly the size instead of giving it some room so you can measure it properly. And what's the difference between a knit and purl? You know, what is going on as far as mechanically in the fabric, you know, kind of how they're different from each other. Stitches so tight, if they're too tight, you know, some people will form the stitches too close to the tips and not, you know, slack. Moving yarn from front to back. How the yarn lays, how the stitches are supposed to sit on the needle. How you slip stitches, yarn overs, ladders, and that kind of stuff. Stitch marker size and how they can impact things. Oh yeah, and in the round, how not to make a Mobius. And then there's a knot in my yarn. What should I do? And so I thought that would be a set of things, excuse me, that I thought might be fun to put together for, and I know what I'm going to call it. It's going to be the, oh wait, I've got it here somewhere. Where is it? Oh heck. Oh, there it is right there. I got 99 knitter beginner problems or, you know, however many it happens to be. And I thought that would be a fun thing to do, but we'll see. But yeah, other than that, I feel like I've been rambling for a while, almost 50 minutes. Let's see, other than that, it's been beastly hot here. I hope there's a break in the weather soon, but I don't think it's going to happen until next week. And I hope you are taking care of yourself. That's really important and stuff. And I hope you're experiencing kindness and giving it in return and everything. And I really hope you're enjoying your knit.